All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. One must have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. Our argument in this debate is incredibly simple. We think that creativity itself is inevitable. It is something that is going to happen. The 1NC is evidence of this. They are intractable. They say that we shouldn't be creative, that we should attend to the question of capital, that we should involve ourselves with fighting something, or that we prescribe something to someone. But none of these link arguments make any sense. The 1NC itself is an act of creativity. It's an act that affirms the 1AC. They can't even stand up helplessly. Spurlock, it pours out of him his own creative will. He can't help himself, which means he probably wants us to affirm too. He just had to say capitalism because there was apparently nothing more creative he had to say. But the form and content of the arguments are different. He went for a position that was not entirely creative, but intended to do it in a creative way. Our argument is simple, that you should perform your politics. Fred stood up in the 1AC and affirmed creativity as a way for us to explore ourselves, to explore the world, to learn to cope, to come to grips with negative things that exist in the world. But he couldn't even get out of his own trap. I think Cross-X was fairly devastating on this point. The 1NC is a double turn on itself. Their argument in Cross-X, and do not let them shake away from this, is that we should not prescribe our sorts of politics onto other people. Whatever you think politics means, the 1AC does this less than the 1NC. Their 1NC's argument, if it has one, is that we should probably attend to the problems of capital, otherwise we cannot resolve conditions that exist in the status quo. That prescribes to you all of the role of a ballot in this debate. You have been told by the negative team how you ought to behave, and now you are expected to fall in line. They think that that will stop capitalism. I think that's pretty insane. No matter how many whoopee cushions they buy at the dollar store, it's not going to matter. Our argument is fundamentally different and solves the entirety of their criticism. We do not participate in capitalism. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Our argument is that we should not participate in any of the structures that they are talking about as a way of resisting. In fact, we do not even acknowledge the existence of that sort of politics. Fred stood up in the 1NC and the 1AC and talked about his own experience. He talked about the fact that when he would go down into the creek, he would have to go further into the critique because into the creek because there were holes there, because there was a hole that could trap his whole body, and he kept going forward. Why? What was that will that drove him to do that? Despite the fact that there was unfavorable stuff in the world, why did Fred continue to forge forth into critique? The negative cannot answer this question. Only the affirmative can answer this question. The thing that drove Fred into the critique was his creative will, the desire to see something that he had never seen before, the desire to go out out and find something that would stir up his soul, to do something that would make him be more human. The 1NC cannot hope to capture this kind of politics unless you think it affirms our act. The second part of this argument is that we have an entire advantage to the fact that we investigate the personals. They say that the personal is small politics. Game over, bro. There is no way that they can make this argument and win the debate. We have a whole bunch of advantages that they can't attend to. Fred learned to cope with his situation by facing the confrontation that life puts in front of him. We all have these things. We all experience negative aspects to our lives. We have all known what it's like to struggle at some time, but to simply close our eyes and say that we are not going to investigate the political does not resolve those negative aspects of the world. Rather, it drives them deep into us and makes them turn us ugly. Our argument is that the world is not ugly, no matter how bad it is. It's fundamentally beautiful. This is Goya. This is Saturn, a god eating his own child, and the world is ugly. You can see it in his eyes. There is frenzy there. The gods have abandoned us. So what do we do now? Do we rage against capitalism as a way of trying to cope with the world? Do they even have access to that alternative? Can they even enact it in any way? Did they perform it right here for you? No, they certainly did not. Our argument is yes, there is negative stuff in the world. Capitalism exists. Violence exists. Genocide exists. The gods are mad and the demons are in the inky blackness too, but our argument is that we have to find a way to cope with these things because they are not going anywhere. The affirmative is the only alternative that gives you a way of learning how to cope with the world. Goya was probably pretty depressed when he painted this, and he never let it see the light of day until he died because he was ashamed of his dark vision. Because it scared him and he didn't think we were ready for it. Fred has more respect for you than Goya had for his audience because he thinks you can handle it. Because Fred stood up and bared his soul in the 1AC, talked about something he's never talked about, his mom's nightmares, the fact that his father died, the lion on planet Mars, silent, and yet still there. And what did the negative team feel like they needed to do about this? They thought it was some kind of fucking joke. They thought that they could stand up and blow it out with a fart. What do you feel about the fact that they farted on the memory of your mother, Fred?
I was just disappointed.
I'm disappointed too, frankly. I think that we can probably be a better example than this. I think that we could probably aspire to be greater than this. I think that we can probably learn to cope better than by pulling a bunch of naive tactics in the face of something that gives us an authentic possibility to hope for a different world, even though we know that there is darkness that exists. They put the candle out. They put it out. They leave you in the darkness. Right? And our argument is that we understand darkness exists. The 1AC says go out and explore. And they say draw in to become a turtle. Right? We don't think that at the end of the debate you're going to buy that that does anything. And even if you do buy that it does something, I really doubt that it's going to outweigh all of those advantages that the 1NC conceded. There's no way. Right? The debate's over when they blow out the candle with a fart. And we're not sure what they're going to do for the rest of this debate. We have no idea. Most of the 1NC was a bit of a mystery to us, which is why we liked it. So we're going to go ahead and have a few star crunches. We're going to investigate the possibility that when we set the controls for the heart of the sun, that not only are we allowing ourselves to be mastered by a force that's greater than us, throwing ourselves willingly towards our own annihilation, something that Nietzsche probably would have loved, but we are also the reversal of that. The sun eats us, but I eat the Star Crunch. We drink the sun. We feed your souls. We feed your souls. What is the impact to the 1NC? What is the impact of the 1NC? I don't think it has one. Sorry. Star country are pretty dry. Furthermore, if we are the reversal of the negative aspects of creativity, which we think we are, then the only thing that the 1NC did was miss the boat. They misidentified us, right? Creativity probably has done bad things in the past. Maybe it's even led to capitalism. Maybe Hitler was creative in the way he killed Jewish people. Maybe there were creative aspects in the world, or maybe there were creative elements to all of this human negativity. But ask yourself this question: even if they win all of those arguments, would you stop being creative in your personal daily life? Should we stop being creative in our personal lives? Should Brian stop picking up his guitar? Should you guys take your tubs and empty them out? Right? I mean, it's debate that's on the line here. It's Fred's mom that's on the line here. It's Fred the boy that's on the line here. Right? They want you to flirt it out. I don't know much about Ubu Roy, but I don't think that what we did in the 1AC was hollow, which is what their argument is. They said it was empty. What I want you to do at the end of the debate, when I talk to you last again, I want you to gut check yourself. Because you don't need to keep flowing. They're going to beat us on the line by line. They're going to have a bunch of arguments, and they're going to read more cards and all of those things, but they will not be able to deal with the one argument that we need to win, which is that we do something right here, which is productive, which has an advantage, which stirs up the soul, which allows us to be fundamentally more human, and what they have is an offensive joke. Does that make us want to do violence to them? Do I want to go hit Chris? No. Do I want to go hit Koslow? No. Absolutely not. They want us to do that. That's their goal. See, they're trying to egg us on. They're trying to get us to respond so that they can talk about how creative people, too, are capable of violence. Well, we're not going to let in. We're not going to give in. And you want to know why? Because we are the reversal. Because they are more in line with all of that negative stuff that we talked about. And we're not willing to participate in that. They can't even see us coming because they are so deluded by their own need to locate themselves towards this negativity in the world that they can't even stand up and acknowledge when Fred does something really beautiful. They rather choose to fart on it. So that's pretty much where this debate is. And that's where it's going to be. At the end of the debate, again, you have to ask yourself whether it's worth it. Do you want to go to work tomorrow, participate in their capitalist scheme? Do you think we are participating in it? Or do you think that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy? There's no timer?
Yeah, we're on like minute 15. Dude. It beeped like a while ago.
Oh, dude, why didn't somebody stop me?
We figured you wanted to keep going.
Oh, no, I was just talking.
All right, cross-X.
You have to understand, every time I at the end of every line, it beeps.
Like 4 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't disregard the last 4 minutes of my speech.
Cross-X?
All right.